Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about moss tables and what they're used for. I'm going to show you guys how I use them in my shrimp tanks. Every single one of my shrimp tanks has one of these awesome moss tables. Now, I do want to give a huge shout out to my buddy Orion. He 3D prints these himself. I think they're only like $1 each. So any of you guys need any, I'm gonna put the Instagram up here. You guys can reach out. He's got awesome prices, best prices I've seen on moss tables by far. So if you guys are new to the channel, I'm Mario. I do a lot of these videos where I show you guys a lot of beginner stuff. A lot of the ways that I do stuff myself. It might be different than other people, but this is just the way I do stuff. So if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I did just recently get partnered, so that's an awesome thing for me. So any views, any support, I greatly appreciate it. Let me show you guys my tanks, and I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna use this today to propagate some moss from that tank, which has just a bunch of weeping moss in it already. So I'm gonna take some off of that, half of that probably, move it to a different tank, and then have it grow. But I'm gonna also attach it to this. I get a lot of questions on my TikToks and my short videos, and even on some YouTube videos about how I use this and how I make sure that the moss doesn't attach itself to the substrate or to any other things that you might have in your tank. So let's get right to it. Let me show you guys. All right, so I set these tanks up maybe about a year ago. Weeping moss is what I have in most of my tanks, and as you guys can see, it grows nice and thick. It doesn't grow really fast, which is why I really like this moss, but it's also really easy to take care of. So I do have plenty of these of this available. So if any of you guys want some, just DM me on Instagram. As you guys can see here, this one in the next month or two will have to be trimmed down. I like them to get about this size. Moss is awesome for babies. They like to hide in it. Babies are very vulnerable in their first early stages of life, and so they like to hide a lot. That's the only reason why I have moss in my tanks. If I did not need anything in my tanks, I'd probably have these bare with only substrate. So that's the only thing I keep in my tanks. All I have is moss and a sponge filter. And so far, it's worked out for me. Now, some of you guys might like some almond leaves in here, some cholla wood, a bunch of different stuff, and that's totally fine. Everybody does things their own ways. I've actually done it like that in the past. But over time, I've just learned that simpler is better for me. Just easier to spot shrimp when they're sick, when you don't have many things in here. Now, obviously, they can always crawl in there and die, which I mean would be unfortunate. But I don't go moving around moving my moss around or anything like that. But I wanted to show you guys this. This is my black spotted pinto tank. I've got a few batches of babies in here, but nothing too small, which I think that's the only reason I wanted to trim this down today. And it was an awesome idea an awesome chance, I mean, to be able to show you guys what I'm gonna do with this moss and how to attach it to a moss table. Where I'm probably gonna get it, split it in half, keep half in here, move the other half to the new moss table, and then move it to a different tank, which is already gonna be a great portion actually. So one thing I'm going to show you guys right now, I'm going to move the whole thing around, and I'm also going to take it out actually so I can trim it down. But I want to show you guys what happens if I move it around. You guys are going to see, obviously it's not extremely stable. It's only tied down by some thread. So it's not like it's grown into and around the moss table or anything like that. But I do want to show you guys how much easier it is to work with when you have a moss table than when you don't. So let me move it around and show you guys. All right, so for this portion of the video, I'm going to zoom it back a little bit. I'm going to move the lid out the way. And first things first, of course, I can't get the moss out without first shaking it good. Moving it around a little bit, make sure there's no babies in there. Look how much moss it is. Now, if I were to put my hand in there and grab it, look, it's all attached to this moss table in here. And so I am going to take it out. We're going to move it around. As you guys can see, all the shrimp are coming out of it. The goal is to get all of it out and put it into a different container for now. I'm going to show you guys. This always happens. It's not 100% all going to stay attached to the moss table. I'll put it in a different container and I'll show you guys how we're gonna tie it to the moss table. All right, so for the next portion of the video, I'm gonna find the thread that's holding this together, which is right here, and I'm gonna cut it because we're gonna tie this back down. There we go. At some point, I think if I'm gonna show you guys what kind of portion I started with. I think this portion right here that I'm holding in my hand is kind of what I started with. Like I mentioned, it's probably been close to a year. I've got so much of it. In fact, I think I have too much of it. So I'm going to separate it into two clumps. This is what's going in the new one. And this is what I'm keeping here in this tank. I do like to keep a nice chunk in my established tanks. And like I mentioned, this one has a ton of babies in here right now. So we don't want to mess with it too much. Let's attach it to the moss table and put it back in the tank. All right, so for the next part, we're going to use some thread. I used this one. I took it from my wife. I'm not sure what she needed it for. And I'm just going to cut a nice size, about this much. Something that I can wrap around the whole moss table. I wish I could show you guys. About this length. To me, it doesn't matter if it overlaps. So I can give you guys a better angle. All right, so next thing we're going to do, we're just going to plop it on here. Just like that. I normally just run the thread under. Sorry, I'm trying to give you guys the best view possible of it. Okay, there we go. So it's under. We're just gonna tie it, guys. You can use any color. This is blue, but once in the tank and once the moss grows around it, like, you won't even know what color you're using. I don't tie it too. Sorry, I'm trying to give you guys a good video. I don't tie it too hard, too tight. Just nice where once it goes in the tank, you want it to float up a little bit, like the moss go up, but you don't want it to come loose. So now let's put it back in the tank and show you guys how it looks in the tank. All right, so for the next part, I'm just gonna drop it down with my hand, and you guys are gonna see just how it stays together. And you guys can see it's still really nice and healthy portion. It's just not as big as it was, which is exactly what we wanted. So that's what it should look like, and the shrimp will come to it. You guys can see the blue thread there. Again, it's not anything that I worry about whenever I'm doing this. It's eventually gonna outgrow it like this. It's not gonna be too bad. It's actually gonna be nice and fluffy, just maybe a few weeks from now. But I know this video was really short, but one thing that I've learned, guys, is just how many beginners watch my videos. Some of the questions people ask are very beginner questions, which I'm totally okay with, right? That's why I'm trying to make a better effort of making simpler videos like these, where somebody a little bit more experienced might watch this and be like, well, I already know all that. You're gonna show me anything new. Unfortunately, there's only so much stuff to shrimp keeping, and this is I'm trying to show you guys some of the things that work for me. This is by far one of the ones that I use all the time. And so, like I mentioned, these can get pretty expensive. I have 12 tanks. They go for about $3 to $5 a piece anywhere else online. So, my buddy reached out to me. He used a 3D printer, which is pretty awesome. And so just to get some of his costs back, he only charged $1 each. But, it's not going to get any better than that. So if you guys are looking for some, definitely reach out to him. His link will also be down in the description of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this helped you guys out. Now I'm going to take the other portion and put it in a different tank that's missing some weeping moss. That other tank in the bottom rack actually has a Wazzer tank, which I'm going to use for something different. So I'll show you guys that whenever I do move it around. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for watching.